Was AI about to F everything up? Part 2. Yesterday I talked about how AI is going to change the way you and I as photographers work. Today I'm going to talk about emulation software. I'm sure the vast majority of people out there use or have used some sort of emulation software to replicate the look of a film. This is used a lot with people that are using digital cameras who want to make their film look like Acros 100 or Ektachrome 100 or Kodachrome or some vintage film, some vintage look. And these emulation softwares, as I've been writing about since 2005, I've gotten pretty good. So where is AI going to affect this? Well, I think the emulation software in the future, and once again, 2 to 3 years, is going to get so much better that for the way that most people view your images, which is on the device that you're looking at right now, is going to be pretty decent. There's a big difference between looking at an image on a phone or on a computer or on a tablet and looking at an actual print. When you get to the actual print, that's where it's easier in a lot of cases to see if something's been emulated or not, or if different effects have been added through AI, because it isn't perfect once ink or silver, gets sensitized on paper. It's a different physical quality. A good friend of mine, Steven Steinauer, used to be one of the finest printing companies in the world, amazing guy, said to me when I was much younger, and just starting out printing my first book, he said, most people will know of your work through reproduction. And in his case, that was a book. And he was right. Nowadays, I would make the argument that most people are going to know you through social media. So what is the implications of that? The implications is that a lot of the technology that we use to create our work really only makes sense in terms of maybe making a print. Why would you use some beautiful, fast, say, Leica lens that costs, $1 trillion to buy when you're going to be posting it on the internet and someone's going to be looking at it on this tiny little device? The web has this amazing way of homogenizing everything. Technical specifics like detail and texture and out of focus rendering kind of get lost. Even on the best retina screens, you don't see it the same way, and it doesn't feel the same way as seeing an actual print. So AI is going to make the emulations better. I think that AI is also going to give you the ability of having optical emulations. I could take my iPhone camera here, take a picture with it, and in just a couple of years, I'll be able to go through a selection of lenses and say, make this look like a 1960 Summicron, make this look like a Summilux, make this look like a vintage camera from the 1930s, a particular Tessar type lens. And it will be able to do it. Now, will it be as good as the actual lens? No. And if you were to make a print and compare it side by side, I think you would see a difference. But once again, because the vast majority of people are only going to see your work through a tablet phone or some device like that, it's really hard to tell the difference between the actual lens and a replicated lens through AI. And I think that's going to get better and better and better. Where am I going with this? Where I'm going is that prints matter. I think that in the future, AI is going to divide, and digital's already doing this, and social media is already doing this, is going to divide photographers really into two camps. Are you a photographer who makes prints? Are you a photographer that does exhibitions of prints and sells prints? Or, and I'm not saying one's better than the other, are you a photographer who only shares electronic images? I mean, in a very short number of years here, and it's already occurring now, you have photographers that are not making prints at all, that are simply making images for like an LED display or some high resolution display, or people that just post stuff for online content that really don't have any interest in a physical analog print of some kind. So I think you're going to have a categorization of e-photographers who are electronic only and print photographers. And what's interesting about that then is where you're going to get the tension between if someone posts an e-image, let's say made with all replicated, simulated, film grain, look, contrast, color, optics, and someone who's actually working in those materials, when you're in the e-environment, when you're in the social media environment, the distinction is going to be really difficult. And this is one of those roads where I see people already right now trying to hammer out some sort of, they have text under their images saying no AI or minimal electronic, a manipulation, because they're trying to distinguish themselves from that other market. And I'm not sure how this is going to play out. I think we're going to be having this conversation, and I know writers are going to be having this conversation, filmmakers are having this conversation as to where do you draw that line and how do you make the distinction, and does the distinction even really matter? Thank you very much for listening. Go shoot some film.